Smokehouse Meats Barbecue Catering. My name is Michael Short, and I'm coming to you today in a beautiful 2012 holiday season. And what we're going to do today is actually nothing that has to do with barbecue. We're going to do a blackened salmon recipe, actually. Okay? So we're going to take some salmon fillets, we'll put a blackened seasoning on, and also what we're going to do is we're going to take some sweet potatoes, and we're going to add some pineapple, and we're going to add some cilantro, and we're going to add some apples to them, and we're going to make that meal exciting and jump off your plate. We're going to take all of that and add it to a bed of rice. Okay? So, let's get started. All right. So what you see in front of you is you have the salmon fillets that I prepared. I put them on a rack and let them dry out so they're nice and firm. When dealing with salmon, you don't want the moist salmon because that falls apart very easily. When you leave them out, let them dry, let the moisture fall off of them, and they'll get firm, as you can see right there. All right? Now, what we're going to do is take some olive oil. We're going to add a little olive oil to them. Okay? We're going to do that, rub it in a little bit. We'll flip them over, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Olive oil. Okay, rub that in. Alright, now the intent of all that is to make sure that you get something to make sure that the meat, the seasoning adheres to the actual meat. Alright, so take a look here. What we have here is my actual seasoning that I'm going to use for my blackening. Okay, so what we have here is some ground red pepper. Okay, we've got some chili powder, some pepper, some Old Bay, some Cajun seasoning, some hot sauce, and some Lea & Perrins Worcestershire sauce. Alright, so that's going to be the basis to our actual blackened seasoning. In addition to that, I did mention to you that we were going to do some sweet potatoes as well. So if you take a look over here, I've got some sweet potatoes already seasoned with some brown sugar. I've got some nutmeg and cinnamon in there with some butter. So we're going to turn those on and let those start to cook. We'll turn them down, put them at about 5 and let them get moist. They're already pre-cooked. So also, we said we were going to add a bed of rice to that. So notice I've got some water boiling, and we're going to add our rice to that. And with that, we're going to add some cilantro and some green pepper as well. All right? All right, so here we are. We've got our extra virgin olive oil, and we're going to turn up our stove to about a medium heat. And once we get it at a good temperature, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add our squirt of extra virgin olive oil to it. Give it a good one. Kind of make sure it gets turned around in there so it coats it very well. Okay, I'd say about a little less, about a 1/4 inch of oil. Just make sure that it's covered well. Okay, now you can do this with a non-stick pan or you can do it with a cast iron skillet. It doesn't really matter. Okay, now while that's heating up, okay, what we're going to do is come over here to our seasoning. We're going to go ahead and throw on some of our seasoning. Alright, so first we have our ground red pepper. And when I season, I simply give it a generous all the way across the board, just like that. And we're going to do this on both sides of the salmon. Okay, so there's your ground red pepper. Here's your chili powder. Okay, you want to go light with that because it's going to, depending on how hot you want it. Okay, we're going to go with some black pepper. Okay, get that on there. A little Old Bay. Okay, we'll get some Cajun seasoning. Okay. Here's your hot sauce. And a little Worcestershire. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to flip them up and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. In the meantime, what we do have going still is our candied yams that are actually unboiled now with the butter, the cinnamon, the brown sugar, and the nutmeg. Smell off of that is tremendous. We're going to end up adding our apples to that here shortly with a little cilantro as well. And now what we're about to do and introduce over here though is our boiling water for our rice. I do simple things to make it a simple meal. So what we have here is boiling the bag rice. Takes about 5 minutes to boil. Okay, notice that I've got the salmon now blackening. You take a look at that, you pull that up. You'll be able to get a good shot of that. The smell coming off of that is just tremendous. Tremendous. So we'll give that about another 2 minutes and then we'll flip it. Okay, now that we've got our salmon seasoned, if you take a look at that, you'll see that you have all the seasonings that I had up here are now on both sides of the meat. Okay? So, what we're going to do now is we're going to take this and we're going to take our actual green onions, garlic, and cilantro and put it in the pan over here. And once we get that in the pan, and we're going to put a little more olive oil in here. We're going to take this over. And once we get it in the pan, then we're going to take our salmon and put it on top of that. Okay? Alright. So first, we're going to put in a little garlic, some cilantro. We're going to do a little green onion. Okay. And that's going to be our original, what we need here. Right? Take a look at that. You'll see that that starts to actually render down a little bit. Okay. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this salmon and we're going to put it on top of this. And we can do 4 at a time. Notice how you start to get the sizzle. Okay, I'm a white freak. I like to keep things neat a little bit. But I'm going to take that and let that sear on one side, just as you see it there. And we're going to end up doing the rest of them the same exact way. So take a look at that. And what we're going to do is give that a cover. Alright, here you see the sweet potatoes that or candy yams that have actually been prepared. Butter, a little brown sugar, nutmeg, and cinnamon. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take our apples that we have over here that have been actually sitting here for a minute. We're going to take those apples right here. And these are Washington apples, by the way. And we're going to put those in there. Grab a spoon here. Okay, we're going to turn up the heat a little bit. Bring those to a boil again and get those apples. You don't want the apples to become mushy. You just want them to warm up so they're crispy with the potatoes or candy yams. or whatever you want to call them. Okay? Alright, so give those about 5 minutes on medium heat to warm up. We just want them to warm up. We don't want them to wilt. We want them to stay crispy as we start to go through this. Alright? Alright, so as you can see, the salmon's been blackened on both sides. And now what we have is a crisp crust that has the garlic and the cilantro and the onions that have been actually encrusted onto the salmon. We're going to take this, we're going to plate it over here. Got one that fell apart there, but that's okay. Take the next one, plate it over here. And what we're going to do now is take everything that's in there, and as our topping for them, we're actually going to put on top so we get a little extra crunchies that go on them. Alright, take a look at that. Okay, so what you see is I've already taken the rice and I've added it to a plate. We're going to plate it. But what I've also done as a garnish is I've added some pineapple rings to it. In addition to that, what you see over here is a little bit of onion and chives that I'm adding to it as well. Okay. And a little bit of cilantro to go in there. Alright, now stay right there. Move some of this out your way. And what we're going to do now is plate. Alright, see that? Onion garlic around it. It's already finished. Okay, so that's our first plating. Okay, finally what we have left are our potatoes along with our apples. Okay, the apples are still crisp. Alright, so we're going to take those and we're going to plate those right here. Alright, so here we have it, the final meal. You have blackened salmon on a bed of rice with pineapple rings. You have some onions and you have a little cilantro in the rice there, sprinkled with the fried bits of garlic and onion on top. And then over here you have the sweet potatoes along with the apples that have been cooked. They're not mushy, but they're firm. And they taste good right there. And I say to you, Smokehouse Meats Barbecue Catering, 720-436-3567 or 720-748-1963. Contact us online at www.smokehousemeats.webstarts.com. Happy holidays to you.